Hello, this is History Shorts with the Artifactual Scholar. Today, I'll be talking about James Otis, American Patriot. In the story of the American Revolution, there are certain names that are universally known. Washington, Adams, Franklin, Jefferson have rightly achieved a sort of historical immortality. But one figure from the revolutionary generation, James Otis, has been somewhat overlooked. Otis, originally from Barnstable on Cape Cod, had attended Harvard, and by the 1750s was a quickly rising lawyer in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. In 1756, he was appointed an advocate general in the Vice Admiralty Court, tasked with prosecuting smugglers and enforcing British customs regulations. But then, in 1760, political events in Britain caused Otis to shift his political viewpoint from conservative loyalist to outspoken critic of British colonial policy. In that year, King George III ascended to the throne, and as was common, the British government issued new documents in the new king's name. Among those documents were the writs of assistance, general search warrants that allowed customs officials to enter and search any home, warehouse, ship, or barn. To many people in the American colonies, the writs represented a violation of the natural rights of Englishmen. They were especially detested in New England, where smuggling and black marketeering were lucrative occupations. Though his job called for him to enforce custom regulations, and by extension the writs of assistance, Otis was opposed to the writs and chose to resign. The following year, Otis began representing colonial merchants challenging the legality of the writs. On February 24, 1761, in a 5-hour-long oration before a panel of judges, Otis attacked the writs, calling them the instruments of tyranny. Otis noted that a man's house was his castle, and that he should be as secure in his house as a king is in his castle. As recounted by John Adams, who witnessed the proceedings, Otis was a flame of fire, and there laid the seeds for American independence. Though Otis lost the case, he emerged as the most important and celebrated orator and defender of colonial rights in Massachusetts. He was soon elected to the colonial legislature and continued to agitate against arbitrary British authority. In 1765, Otis was one of the authors of the colonial protest against the Stamp Act. His influence and fame were so profound that he was frequently quoted and criticized in Parliament, and was even denounced by the king himself. However, by the late 1760s, Otis had begun to show signs of mental instability. In 1769, he was involved in a very public feud with John Robinson, one of the customs commissioners in Boston. The two men exchanged insults and accusations in letters and newspapers. In September, the feud became violent. Otis confronted Robinson in the Crown Coffee House near Long Wharf. After a heated discussion, Robinson tried to tweak Otis's nose, an insulting and demeaning gesture. Words soon gave way to fists, and the two men began to brawl. Soon, Robinson's companions overpowered Otis and held him down, while Robinson repeatedly beat him on the head with his cane. Eventually, Otis was rescued from the melee, but the blow to the head hastened his mental decline, and his public life essentially came to an end. James Otis was one of the first Americans to question the power of the British monarchy, and in his oratory laid the foundations for the revolutionary fervor that engulfed the British colonies by the mid-1770s. Though he would survive the revolution, Otis would not live to see the establishment of the United States. On May 23, 1783, while standing in the doorway of a friend's house in Andover, Massachusetts, James Otis was struck by lightning and killed, an appropriate end for the man who sparked a revolution. This has been History Shorts. Thanks for watching.